She is former president and CEO of the USTA. She is a sports analyst, a very decorated name in the sport of tennis, former professional, heads so many different projects. She is an author. There's really nothing that Katrina Adams cannot do here. And she joins me on the On to Something podcast. I'm Bryan Fenley. You know, Katrina as well has done a lot of work with Tennis Channel. I've done some work with Tennis Channel as well. I'm on Twitter at Bryan Fenley. Katrina, this is going to be an opportunity. I know you've got a book out. It's called Own the Arena. I liken this conversation to talking about the arena of your life in a unique way. So excited to have you on.
Thanks, Brian. Excited to be here.
For you, it seems that you thrive the best when you're busiest. Why is that?
I don't know. I don't like downtime. I mean, I love to relax, but I don't know what that really means. Um, I like to be active. I'm a very, tennis is a very broad sport, and so I try to have my hand in every area that I can where I feel that I'll make a difference. Hence my participation on the ITF board, the different committees that I sit on there, on the International Tennis Hall of Fame board. I run my Heart of Junior Tennis and Education NJTL chapter here in New York. And then I sit on a couple other boards as well. So it just keeps me in the know, if you will, and around everybody in the sport that I love so much.
In the sport that you love so much, what I notice is there's a fearlessness about you. Where did that come from?
I think it's innate. I think I was born with it. My mom used to always say that I carried this air of confidence with me since I was very young. I think if you know what you're doing or you believe in yourself and you believe that you've prepared, then you can carry that air of confidence. I like to say that it's confidence, it's not arrogance by no means, but I think it exudes, that confidence exudes when I do walk in a room or when I'm with others.
Another thing that I noticed about you in a characteristic is you being strong-willed and having that. How has that been a recipe for so much of your success?
I think it's been huge. I mean, when you look at the sport of tennis and what it means, and starting at the age of 6 and going all the way up through the juniors and high school, college, professional tennis. I mean, it's all about your energy, right? It's about your passion. It's about what you put into it is what you get out of it. And I think that's what I have pretty much done in everything that I have touched. I won't get involved in anything that I don't think I can't make a difference in, and that's really kind of the recipe that I've put together throughout my life.
When you think about what fuels you at the core of who you are, where does making a difference stack up in that hierarchy?
I think in this day and age, making a difference in diversity, equity, inclusion areas is vital. It's who I am. It's who I represent. It's what I represent. And I want to make sure that if I'm involved with something, not only am I bringing a diversity of thought to the conversation or inclusiveness, it's imperative for any business to grow, for anybody to excel. If you really want to grow and be successful, then you have to include everybody. And that's the voice that I bring. It's the nature that I bring. It's the experience that I bring. And that's what I will continue to do going forward.
How do you see your voice as such a valuable asset?
I think it's because I have such great respect from my peers in the business, not just my fellow players, but the business people as well. I've been around this game for a very long time, wearing multiple hats. And so when you can earn the respect of others, then you have the ability to have an impact because they will take the time to stop and listen as opposed to just hearing words coming from your mouth, going in one ear and out the other. And that's something that I've been able to do from a very young age, considerably on the professional tour. When I was on the WTA tour, I learned the importance of networking, of building relationships with the people that were running the tour, the people that were behind the scenes, the people that were running tournaments. And so once I retired, I was able to have that rapport with these individuals still today because they respect and value who I am as a person and what I bring to the table.
How did you, in growing up, the respect and the feeling of being valued, how did you get that, receive that from your parents?
My parents are obviously why I am where I am today. They instilled values in me that had an immense impact on who I am and what cultivated me to be who I am today. And respecting one another, trusting one another, being honest, trying to be authentic, and that's something that I'm still working on. Nobody is authentic from day one. It's especially in a world of sports and entertainment, but it is something that I try to thrive for. I'll always thrive for authenticity. But it doesn't necessarily always reach that. So my parents are, because of the base that I had growing up, I think it allowed me to evolve in all these different areas to earn that respect from others.
How often do you hear their voices in your head in what you do and as a guiding light even to this day?
Often, I lost my parents at the end of 19 and early in 20. And so, I often think that they're smiling down on me and they're saying, patting me on the back, with every accolade that comes my way. And for me, that's my way of thanking them. And so, you know, it, I'll walk in a room and people says, "Oh my gosh, you remind me of your mom, or you remind me of your dad," and so that makes me smile, and it also makes me realize that they're still with me.
How do you use that as sort of like a feeling of validation? And I feel like as humans, one of our biggest feelings of wanting to be motivated to do something is for the validation of our parents. So, like, how much do you think that drives you even to this day?
I don't think I need to validate anymore, as to who I am and what I'm doing. I think I did that many years ago. My parents came from humble beginnings. They're from Mississippi. They grew up on a farm. They picked cotton after school or before school or whatever their chores were, in the South. And so their upbringing was very humble and very challenging, back in the 40s and 50s, before they moved to Chicago. And even still, the things that they had to endure during the civil rights movement. So all of the opportunities that I've had, in my lifetime is because of the sacrifices that they gave. And so I'm very grateful and very thankful for what they instilled in me. They were teachers, and education came first always. And those are the qualities and the intangibles that I have, that I bring with me today because of what my parents did.
You as a teacher, what does that look like today?
I run the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program, and so we work with inner city youth mostly, in Harlem and in the surrounding areas in New York City. And so I'm always teaching, whether it's my peer or whether it's a youngster, and trying to instill in them the values of what tennis can bring to them, as young people, and the life skills that they're learning that they can develop into whomever they want to be and be successful at that. So I think anytime we're going into anything new, I'm always learning more so. I think I'm learning more than I'm teaching, because we learn from one another. But I'm also trying to learn, different skill sets that can help me evolve.
What are you learning from the kids when you're around them and you're telling them about your love of passion and for tennis, and you're hoping to dispel that onto them, and you see the way in which you're able to change those lives?
Well, I mean, the first thing is patience. Anytime you're dealing with children, you have to have patience. Empathy. I think I've always had empathy, but there's empathy, there's sympathy, there's passion and compassion when it comes to youth. And understanding who they are, what their challenges may or may not be, what their goals are, and how you can help them accomplish those goals. So, every day is a learning day, whether you're working with youth, excuse me, and nowadays even our alums that are coming back and kids that I've basically raised in the program who are in their 20s now, who are still near and dear and around and thanking me, and others in our program for providing them the platform that they had through the program and the opportunities. And so those are always rewarding moments, when your alums come back and say thank you.
How do they show that gratitude? What does that look like from their perspective when they're able to really tell you how much they appreciate you?
Well, some of it is just coming back to the program and speaking to the kids, maybe coming back and hitting with the kids. We in the last couple of years during COVID, we haven't really had that opportunity to have open revolving doors, if you will. But some of them will offer to take me to dinner and actually just sit down and have conversations. And so it's multiple different ways that gratitude is expressed.
Your gratitude for the sport and what it's done for you and the places that it has taken you, potentially unimaginable places. How do you describe that and how it's been a vehicle for so much in your life?
Well, it's been a blessing. It's been a blessing for me to have had the opportunities that I've had, and hopefully will continue to have. I've been around the world, probably 30 times over,
Wow.
circling the globe, and that's something. Who knew? A little black girl from the west side of Chicago would have been able to do that, and not only do it, but doing it playing tennis, having fun, meeting some of the most incredible people in the world, some of the most incredible leaders in the world, and being able to share those experiences with all. It's interesting because in my travels, I'll make different posts here and different posts there, and people will reply and say, "Thank you for sharing your world. Thank you for sharing a space beyond my boundaries to let me know what it feels like and what it looks like." And so that gives me hope that others will aspire to do these things and travel more and get outside of their own communities, cities, states, and ultimately the country, because the world is large. And I think it's imperative that we all have that experience at least once in our lifetime.
To see the world in everything that it's about and being able to travel like that has, I'm sure, helped you propelled the process of your own self-discovery, and being the tennis is there and it's helped you. How has tennis helped elevate and increase that awareness of your own self and your own self-discovery? And as you said earlier, what you're all about and helping you find your true calling?
That's a very good question. I think it goes back to the basics and the life skills that you're learning from the sport of tennis. Building your self-esteem, your self-confidence, being disciplined, being adventurous, dealing with adversity, understanding tactics and strategies. I mean, these are all the things that we need to be successful in life, right? From the classroom and beyond. And so I'm very grateful for that baseline that tennis taught me, and how to deal with myself, learning how to, deal with time and manage time. And these are things that some of these things are hard to teach people, but through our sport, it really gave me a grasp on what it meant to be responsible and to be accountable. And those are the qualities that we all need, and that I'm grateful for receiving at a very young age.
What more can this sport give you that it hasn't given you yet?
It's given me everything. I will say that, maybe another leadership position in the sport somewhere. I am a leader. I'm the vice president of the International Tennis Federation, and chair some amazing committees, a gender equality in tennis committee, or newly renamed Advantage All committee, the Billie Jean King Cup committee. And so, through the USTA, I'll always be a past president and involved in and knowledgeable about what's going on with the USTA and around the US Open. I'm a commentator, so as you mentioned, so I'm in every aspect of the sport. I love my NJTL. I love what I'm doing with the Harlem Junior Tennis and Education Program. It's about raising money and providing opportunities for these kids. That's something that is a labor of love, because I came from a program very similar to this. But we'll see what's next. I think there are opportunities down the road, to put me back in a global leadership position, and hopefully that'll come my way.
It's definitely going to be coming. Katrina Adams is with me. I'm Bryan Fenley. So yes, one of the many different roles you play in the sport is a commentator, and you're an analyst. If you were to analyze the way in which you analyze the sport during a broadcast, what does that look like?
Oh, energetic. I, I am animated. I'm animated. I'm playing every point. Once a player, always a player. And I'm leaning, I'm running, I'm reaching, and I'm falling out of my chair on near misses or big misses, and so I'm very animated. I have a great time with my play-by-play coworker in the booth, and I just enjoy it. I love watching how the sport has elevated over the years, particularly physically. I thought I was a pretty darn good athlete and an active, strong, fast creature on the court. I don't compare to how these athletes move today. So I am constantly in admiration as to what I'm watching and appreciative of their athleticism and their mindset. And so, yeah, I would say animated and excited.
And when you're in the booth and you're watching them and you're animated and you're excited and you're breaking down the action, given your experiences as a professional tennis player, how much does that empathy gene come out? Like you feeling what they're feeling in the moment of it happening on the court?
Yeah, I mean that's often, particularly with the big wins, the highest highs and the lowest lows, and I think that's the quality that and our responsibility that we have as color analysts in the booth to be able to exude that feeling through the screen to the viewer. And so I have a lot of empathy for players. I probably make excuses too much for them at times, and understanding, what they're going through, or maybe having some off-court knowledge, of maybe an injury or something personal that has happened, without really giving that away, if it's personal for sure. But it's it's just who I am. It's part of my personality, and the one thing that is important as an analyst is that your true personality comes out, and that you're not trying to be someone else.
Yes. How does your true personality come out in your book? I encourage everybody to get it, own the arena, get it wherever books are sold. But yeah, how does that true personality come out in your book?
Well, I think in the book, there's a lot of stories, or a couple personal stories that I open up about that I've never shared before. So I'm authentic in that way, but I give a lot of gratitude. I'm grateful and thankful for a lot of people that have crossed my path in my life that have helped me attain the accomplishments and achieve the accomplishments that I have. And so I give a lot of gratitude to dozens of people who along this path really allowed me to elevate to where I am. But it is it does go to the core, I think, of a lot of issues that people can read and resonate with and say, wow, I felt that, or I totally understand this, or wow, I really need this. I've had some great comments from people, the last couple of years since the book has been out. And I'm grateful to be able to continue to go around and talk about it. I did a TEDx talk in Boston earlier in the year, based on the book, and it resonates with everyone, no matter what their profession is. It's not just about tennis. This is about life.
You're grateful for all of the nice comments about your book. I'm grateful, as we wrap up this conversation, to have had you here to help share those stories in a unique way. And as I think about what you stand for, from the fearlessness to being a game changer in the sport and beyond, and your authenticity, you have it all. And I am so grateful for that opportunity, Katrina, to share your story. Katrina Adams does so much in the sport. I'm Bryan Fenley. Thank you so much for diving deep with me here and learning how you think, how you look at the world, learning about your upbringing, and the way in which you're making a humongous difference in so many different aspects of your life.
Thanks, Brian. It was a pleasure to be here.